Hello and welcome to the Business Programme with me, Charlotte Lomas-Farley. Innovation has become a mantra for the Russian government. It wants to diversify away from its reliance on exporting natural resources and become an economy that also conceives, produces and markets bright new products. To push the process along, the government is developing an innovation complex at Skolkovo outside Moscow and is offering high-tech companies all sorts of incentives to go there. Joining me now to discuss the roots of innovation is Jan Hofmeyr, the Global Director of Innovation at market firm Synovate. Thank you very much for joining us today. So the government here is the main driving force behind trying to turn Russia into a modern economy. Now, do you think this is the right approach? Can it be achieved from the top down?
In my experience, innovation that comes from the top down tends to be less efficient than innovation that is led by individuals living sort of slightly outside the establishment. So it can be done, but it tends to be less efficient.
And what role do cultural conditions play in promoting innovation?
Well, look, it's a cliche that that innovation needs freedom. I don't think that it necessarily needs freedom or thrives more in a free environment. But cultural conditions do play a role. I would say much more important than cultural conditions is money, and especially the opportunity to make money. Creativity and innovation tend to move towards where money is. If innovative people don't see an opportunity to do well for themselves out of innovation, then they will go somewhere else.
And do you think Russia should be trying to nurture individuals to become more innovative, or is it, in terms, more emphasis should be put on firms and companies?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a tremendous amount of innovation that happens inside companies, but because it happens inside companies, it doesn't get recognized as much as innovation that happens with unique individuals like a Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or somebody like that. So it's wrong to think that innovation is only driven by individuals. It can be driven by big companies. But whether it happens inside a company or whether it happens outside companies, in my experience, small groups of individuals tend to be much more productive than big teams. The attempt to create big innovative teams generally tends to lead to a kind of descent to a lowest common denominator, whereas small... So you want to really create an environment where the individual can be innovative, whether inside a company or outside a company.
Now, you specialise in the marketing of innovation. So do emerging economies like Russia. Do they face a harder time convincing the world that they can actually have the value of new innovation?
Absolutely. If you don't come from one of the capitals of the West, you start with a credibility problem. It's not that you can't succeed. It's just that you don't get taken as seriously. People sort of think to themselves, well, they don't come from Harvard or wherever. They come from some other university that they've never heard of. And so you start with a credibility issue. You also face challenges defending your innovation from Western businesses. So it is definitely more challenging, but it can be done.
So what would your advice be then for Russia? What's the best way forward?
You know, I don't know Russia that well. It's a huge country. It seems to me potentially very powerful. I come from South Africa, which is smaller and faces even bigger challenges. We've tended to do really well by forming partnerships. Now, I don't know whether Russians feel that they need to form partnerships or whether they think they can do it by themselves. But it's a lot easier to gain scale and distribution in the big markets if you form partnerships with established people there.
Jan Hofmeyr, Global Director at Synovate, thank you very much for joining us this hour.
Pleasure.